welcome to lesson 5.3. Today we'll be comparing ratios. So we're looking at Dustin, who has 3 hits for every 8 times he's at bat. And we're also looking at Adrian, who gets 4 hits for every 10 times he's at bat. And from this ratio, 3 to 8 and 4 to 10, these ratios, we can generate equivalent ratios. So if Dustin were to get 6 hits, we'd expect that's because he was at bat 16 times. If he got 9 hits, we'd expect that's because he was at bat 24 times. See, every time he bats 8 times, he gets 3 hits. If he were to get 12 hits, well, we're probably figuring that he had 32 at-bats. And finally, if he had 15 hits, he probably was at bat 40 times. Likewise for Adrian, if he was at double the hits, he probably had double the at-bats. Triple the hits, triple the at-bats. Quadruple the hits, quadruple the at-bats. And finally, quintuple, I guess that is, 50 at-bats. Now the question asked, who has the better ratio of hits to at-bats? And so I need to compare similar things. So as I'm looking at this, I'm looking for where they have the same. And it looks like they both have a ratio where they were at bat 40 times. And it looks like Adrian got 16 hits and Dustin only got 15. So Adrian had the better hits to at-bats ratio. He's the guy we'd want on our team. Now for this next part, we're going to solve it similarly to what you would have done for equivalent fractions. So if I had a 3 to 8 ratio and I wanted to compare that to a 4 to 10 ratio, what I could do is find the same denominator. So I'm comparing the same thing to the same thing. And looking at that, that's going to be 40. So this is times 5 times 5. And I get 15 40ths. And this is times 4 times 4, and I get 16 40ths. And you can see that 15 40ths is a lesser ratio than 16 40ths. In other words, 15 is less than 16. Adrian's still the same. Adrian's still the better batter. Now, so for this next part, Marlon enters the mix, and he gets 6 hits for every 15 at-bats. This is Marlon. And we're going to compare him to Adrian, who was our top batter before. Adrian got 4 hits for every 10 at-bats. And I want you to see who has the better batting average. In other words, we need to get them into ratios where we're comparing apples to apples. We're comparing the same number of at-bats. So give that a try at home, and we'll check in on you in class. All right, let's look at this next problem. We have 2 fish tanks here, and it says due to compatibility and size restrictions, only certain types of fish can live together in a tank. If there are 15 mollies in each tank, with the ratio shown below, that should be below, which tank has more fish? So here we have 4 guppies for 5 mollies, and they're telling me there's actually 15 mollies. Well, just like with equivalent fractions, we can find equivalent ratios. How do I get from 5 to 15 by multiplying? Well, that's times 5. Got to do the same to the numerator, or the top part of the ratio, and I get 12 guppies. Now in this tank, I have 12 guppies and 15 mollies, so 12 plus 15 is 27 fish. And on the other tank, I have 2 angelfish for 3 mollies, but I actually know that that's the ratio, but I actually have 15 mollies. So there's a 2 to 3 ratio of angelfish to mollies, but I have 15 mollies, and that's times 5. So this times 5 means there's actually 10 angelfish, and 10 plus 15 equals 25 fish. So you can see that there are more fish in tank 1. Tank 1 has more fish. All right, we've got a third tank, and it has a ratio of 3 guppies for every 4 angelfish. And we want equivalent ratios to find out the number of angelfish in tank 3 since it has 12 guppies. So we want to get the 12. The 3 times 4 is 12. So 4 times 4 is 16 angelfish. And they also asked which tank with guppies has more fish. And so this tank has 12 plus 16 is 28 fish. And the other tank with guppies had 27 fish. And so this tank 3 has more. All right, we're looking at some straight up practice here. In this first question, making plaster, it's a 3 to 4 ratio of water to plaster powder. And we want to complete the table for some more equivalent ratios. And in the end, we want to know how much water if he uses 20 pounds of powder. So one of these better be 20, right? And then the last one, it says Jenny makes a plaster with a ratio of 4 cups of water to 5 pounds of plaster. And whose plaster recipe uses more water? Again, we're going to look for some equivalent ratios and find one where we're comparing the same amount of powder. Give it a shot. We'll talk about it in class. Take care.